about, going into a recession, what we think is what's going to happen to us is what's actually going to happen to us. So, obviously, in a tough market position, you're going in, and then, like you said, we should actually be putting, more effort in, spending more, investing more time, maybe even more money into this, and then gaining opportunity, gaining market share in a place where everybody else might be fearful. So you're actually improving your life. And you actually gave a really good example, or a really good analogy of this. Maybe you can share it. Is in a tough time, pushing it through, why you need to push through, and then afterwards you're not even going to remember, how it feels like, almost like, when you're sick, right? So like, just for people who are getting ready to go into this, what can you say to them to prepare them mentally, for maybe the toughest time in their life, but they're going to come out of this, better than ever.
Well, hopefully this can come up here. So I'm gonna do a video here, if y'all can see this right here. So what this is dictating right here is massive opportunity through market corrections. I know it's kind of confusing. Let me explain it to you. So this circle right here is representing market share decreasing, right? In any industry going into correction. This bottom line is a time horizon, meaning start of the recession or bear market, correction coming out when the market starts growing. So this arrow right here is showing the bottom. So far, there's a historical record of 100% of every single bad market recession we've come back from. 100% in the stock market, 100% in a correction, right? So far, all we can look at is data. 100% is a pretty good track record, right? So the 100% part is when the market bottoms and starts coming back up. So what this graph right here is representing, or the circle here is saying there's this many people competing in an industry, insurance, real estate, whatever it is. Let's say just 1,000 people for easy math purposes. But what this is showing is, as time goes by, the market share, meaning people in the industry, is going to contract. People are going to quit the industry, take their time out of the industry. They're either going to let their licenses go inactive, or they're just going to sit on the couch and they have an active license, but they're not going to do anything, right? So as this market share decreases to this many people, do you think that the opportunities are not still around? So now you have less competition still fighting for these opportunities because all these people are running away from the fire, you run to it. Now, what happens is eventually you're going to bottom out here. So if you look at the average bear market, since there's been, I think, 14 of them since World War II, they've averaged, most of them last less than 24 months. So if we're tracking from January 1st of this year, we should be back out of this by January 1st, 2024, if you look at historical records, right? So what that means is you have about 18 months to button down, kind of strap it up and go through the storm, patten down the hatches, right? But the people that grit it out and come down this 1.5 to 2 year drop and hit this bottom point, when it comes back up, look at what happens. They're the ones with an operating business in the market. So they're not having to set their business back up. They're not having to gain skill sets and go through that. They're already ready to go. So they don't have to time the bottom of the market because they're going to hit it no matter what, because they're always in the game. And then what happens is when the market takes off, they're there day one for the market takeoff. Their systems are already in place. In fact, they're way more skilled than they would ever be because they've been fighting this tougher market for 18 months. And then when the market takes off, this is the millionaire maker wave when mass wealth creation happens, because there's a 1 to 3 year window where those that were still in the industry capture massive market share growing back before all the people that decide to come back in the industry who come from word of mouth, right? Oh, I heard the real estate market's heating back up. And that's what faith, not fear, but faith drives. Oh, I have faith if I go into the real estate industry, I might make a lot of money because I heard you could. Information, data, right? Starting to see how this works. But this is kind of what you need to think about, in the market. You're going to have people leaving their time or industries, whatever industry you're in. Market share is going to shrink. Time will keep going. There will be a transition coming up, and you want to be one of these few people here so that you have the market share to gain when it comes back, if that makes sense. So this is what's coming a lot, or what people should think about how this is going to play out over time. Now, next thing is, this isn't going to last as long as you're thinking, guys. It's not like people are thinking like the next 20 years of their life is ruined. This is going to come in pretty quick. And so what you need to do is stay the course. Don't change anything. If anything, ramp up, right? And so I think it's Grant Cardone's 10X rule he wrote after the crash. I'd have to go back and check. But ultimately, here's the other thing. Why you want to ramp up right now. So if other people are leaving the industry, what does that mean? Let's say there's a bunch of people in a movie theater, bunch of full seats. Now a bunch of people are leaving. That means there's a lot of seats in that room. Those represent opportunities. Those represent people that they had clients with that they're no longer working with, right? So when you run to an opportunity that other people are running away from, you pick up the opportunities that they left behind them, right? Because they're operating out of fear. They don't know what's going to happen. So the other thing is, so you want to go start, aggressively staying the course, but also ramp up your efforts, because let's say that we do see a reduction of 25% in business. Well, how do we increase the loss of income if we need to? Increase our output by 25%, right? So if we're doing this on an incremental basis, if I'm making X amount per hour and I lost 25% of my income and I can make X amount per hour, how do I replace that? I add the extra time in. So this is the time when you ramp up, because when things are ramping down and you're putting the extra time in, many people out of fear, because fear is good in many ways sometimes, creates extra energy and pressure, right? So if I threw Kobe in the ocean versus a swimming pool, and I said, you have to swim as long as you can, he's going to swim for a long time in the pool, but eventually he's going to stop swimming, he's going to climb out. If I threw him in the ocean, he can't climb out. He's going to swim until he either dies or someone comes and picks him up, right? If that makes sense. So does that kind of make sense, guys? Like where your efforts are going to be created by fear or pressure. So if you're fearful that you're going to drown, you're going to keep swimming forever. So when I was scared, I was in debt and I was going to go bankrupt and all this, that fear motivated me to work at an energy level and longer hours and more consistent hours than I could have ever done where I am now comfortably. It's way harder for you, once you're successful, to push yourself to work like 100-hour weeks, because you don't need to, right? So going through this, I want you to possibly look at this as an opportunity in your mind to use fear to create extra energy in your body, to not want to face what could happen because of fear, to create extra output to catch these extra opportunities. So ramp up your opportunities. Ramp up your energy, capitalize opportunities that other people are running from, and just understand that, these recessions are opportunities for people that understand how to make money in them. And you're going to hear the noise from all the people that don't, which is the masses, the 95+% of the world, right? And you're going to hear the most noise from people that are sharing the same thought process. This is a danger, when the elite high performance people are like, this is an opportunity, right? So associate the people that think correctly, use the fear of this to increase your workload and your energy level. Your income may or may not even drop, because if I just explained it to you that way, where you can increase your output and just keep your thinking correctly. And as you start to process information from friends and family and partners, take it with a grain of salt, and don't just hear things and act on it emotionally, unless you know it's real or not. If that kind of helps a little bit.
No, that definitely helps. And then like you said, again, like afterwards, you're not even going to remember that feeling, and you're just going to enjoy the fruits of it. So
yeah, that's a good point to bring up. So this is a crazy thing. So like, if you've ever been like really, really sick, this is the best analogy I can give for you on this. Like, I've been sick like pretty bad, like way worse than COVID. I had COVID and it was like a little cold, right? I had like multiple times, but I had like some flus and things like where I thought I was going to die. Like literally I thought I was going to die, and it was horrific. And then what happened was 6 months later, really even a few weeks later, if you try to remember how you felt, you can't do it. Why? You can't feel that feeling in your body. You can't remember it. You remember it was bad, but you've already paid the due at the present moment that you paid that price, right? So when we pay the moment in the present, so when you're struggling and frustrated in business and those late nights and you're breaking down and doubting yourself, you're paying the price today that you're not going to have to pay tomorrow. So looking back, like even building, a lot of my business, so for example, building EXP, I don't remember doing a lot of it. Like your mind cannot remember everything, right? Because if you were to remember everything, you would be living it, if that makes sense. So if I can remember 24 hours a day of everything I'm doing, wouldn't that be I'm consciously aware 24 hours a day and living what I'm living right now? So you can only remember small fragmented pieces of the past. I enjoy the results of my sacrifices that I paid in the present and the past today, yet I can't remember the pain and the problems and the struggles that I went through. I really don't even remember it. I know I went through all this because there's a window where I worked 1,100 days straight, and that was not to be cool. So I'd go and like put IG clip sound bites. That was because I was terrified and I was going bankrupt, right? Like I was literally swimming every day because I didn't want to drown. I was working every day, right? I can't remember the pain and suffering during that window of time, but I know I did it, and I know, and I couldn't do it again now, just to be honest. And like, so, but if that kind of helps, guys, right? Pay the price today, because the pain you feel in your body, you won't feel it tomorrow, but the excitement that you'll feel when you become financially free and you have an income stream that, you're residually financially free, you will feel forever. So the price that we pay in the present is limited compared to the feeling that we can enjoy forever that's guaranteed if we build a successful business that leads to a long-term residual income stream. So when you're overwhelmed right now, enjoy it, eat it, fight it, right? Because this is the moment in your life. And that's the other thing. I almost like regret. I don't know if I regret. I almost wish sometimes I've heard Gary Vee actually say this, like he almost wants to go bankrupt just so he can have another test to see if he can do it. Right. So like sometimes I wonder, like, if I reset the clock, right? Or if I want to create a challenge, because once you've, the journey that you look back and all those days of suffering and headache and all that, that's the process of who you become as you. And then once you become successful, you're like, okay, now I am that person. And so when looking back, I enjoyed the journey. So it's almost like I wish I could go back and be in those tough moments again and having that doubt, right? And going through that. So where you are as an entrepreneur right now, it seems like chaos and it's like a curse to you sometimes when you're feeling that. In hindsight later, when you look back, you're going to realize those were the formational moments when you became the person that you are. And you're going to look back at those moments as some of the best moments of your life, even though they're struggle moments, if that makes sense.